Okay, here we go with problem 6-9A, the retail inventory method. This can be a little confusing for the average student, especially after studying all of the information on cost flow assumptions, first in, first out, last in, first out, weighted average, specific identification. This can be challenging, but let me try to make this a little easier to understand, hopefully. First of all, both of these problems, 6-9 as well as 6-10, right now we're on 6-9, are inventory estimation methods. Okay, these are estimation methods. And so I think probably the best way to get started on 6-9 is to go to the textbook. And I'm not sure on the page number in the ebook, but the page number in the print book is page 236, Appendix 6B, like boy, inventory estimation methods. And the learning objective is P4, apply both the retail inventory and gross profit methods to estimate inventory. So focusing first of all on the retail inventory method, steps 1, 2, and 3. So the first step is to calculate the ending inventory at retail. And so the way we do that is, first of all, let me get a Excel spreadsheet out here and insert it in our video. I think might be useful to do a few calculations. If we start at the very beginning, equation-wise for inventory, our beginning inventory plus purchases would give us our amount of cost of goods available for sale. Cost of goods available for sale. Now, it's important to note that purchases include, of course, purchases, and we subtract purchase returns and allowances. Let me do that again. Less purchase returns and allowances, less purchase discounts, add a freight or transportation in, and that gives us our net purchases. Let me see if I can here we go. So when we go back to our original equation, what we have here is net purchases. So our beginning inventory plus net purchases, and again, net purchases is calculated by taking purchases, subtracting purchase returns and allowances, subtracting purchase discounts, and adding freight or transportation in. That gives us our net purchases. And if we oops, wrong one there. if we start with our beginning inventory and start with our beginning inventory and add our net purchases, that total is the cost of all the goods that we have, that we started with, plus we bought, available for sale. Okay, cost of goods available for sale. And then the next part of this equation is if we subtract out our ending inventory, then the resulting amount is our cost of goods sold. Then, of course, in the larger equation, our sales, and if we subtract sales returns and allowances and sales discounts, we end up with our net sales. And then if we subtract from our net sales our cost of goods sold, the resulting amount is our gross profit. So that's our basic inventory equation. Our beginning inventory plus our net purchases, what we added to inventory, gives us the cost of all the goods we have available to sell. Then at the end of the accounting period, if we were to count up our inventory and subtract what we had left from what we had available to sell, the difference is what we sold, the cost of what we sold. And then we insert cost of goods sold into the equation with sales. And again, sales, subtracting out sales returns and allowances and subtracting out sales discounts gives us net sales. And then if we subtract cost of goods sold from net sales, the difference the difference is our gross profit. So we use this basic equation as a as a starting point, as a model to use when we use our retail method to estimate our inventory. So again, going back to our textbook page 236, Appendix 6B, under retail inventory method, we have a three-step process. And the first step is to start with goods available for sale, but not at cost. We want goods available for sale at retail. And so this information has to be provided us. So our goods available for sale at retail is going to be calculated by taking our beginning inventory, and we have beginning inventory at cost and at retail. Now this information is given in the problem. So our beginning inventory at cost is 472,850, and our beginning inventory at retail is 928,650. Now, how do we know this? Well, our beginning inventory at cost represents what we paid when we purchased that inventory. And so that's going to be a matter of accounting record, right? We buy inventory, we debit inventory, credit accounts payable if we're using the perpetual inventory method, or we debit purchases, credit accounts payable if we're using the periodic inventory method. But our cost is what we paid for our inventory. How do we know our beginning inventory at retail? Well, large retailing or merchandising establishments generally maintain a cost to retail ratio or a cost to retail percentage. And so the way we would be able to figure out that percentage or that ratio would be to take our cost amount and divide it by our retail amount. And we want to change that to a percentage. And so our cost to retail ratio is 50.92%. And what that means is that our markup is it's a related term, but it's a little different. So our cost, again, our cost to retail ratio is 50.92%. And we get this number by dividing our cost amount by our retail amount. Now, another way to look at these two numbers is to start with retail. And our retail, if we sold everything, our retail would be the equivalent of our sales. And if we were to subtract our cost, so if we were selling all of our inventory, this would be our cost of goods sold. And the difference between our sales and cost of goods sold is our gross profit. Again, we take the numbers that are given to us that we're working with. And our gross profit would be the difference between our sales and our cost of goods sold, or 45,800. Now, when we apply percentages to this short equation, we the numerator is the amount that we are let me backtrack there for a second. If we want to get our gross profit percentage, we take our gross profit and divide it by the amount of our sales. And so again, converting that to a percentage, our gross profit percentage is 49.08%, which means our cost of sales percentage is our $50.92%. So our cost of sales percentage is the same as our cost to retail ratio. And so our sales then becomes our 100% amount. Cost to retail ratio is cost divided by retail. And if we were to convert this percentage to a markup percentage, markup is a little different. Markup is always based on cost, not on retail. So our markup would be based on the amount of our gross profit the amount of our gross profit as a percentage of our cost of goods sold or cost. So our markup percentage would be the amount of our gross profit divided by the amount of our cost, and this would be converted to a percentage. This would be 96.39%. So again, a different term, different calculation, but working with the same numbers. A gross profit percentage of 49.08% means that our cost percentage or our cost to retail ratio is 50.92%. And another way to look at it, this is how the accounting department would look at these numbers. On the other hand, if our sales department was working with these numbers, our sales department would probably be more inclined to look at markup percentages. So using the same numbers for a markup of 45.8, which is our gross profit, our markup on cost would be a 96.39% markup. Different percentage, slightly different calculation, but ultimately our gross profit would be consistent. Okay, hopefully that's not too confusing. So let me go back here and continue this part of the equation. Our cost of goods purchased. So this is our goods purchased. At cost is 2915615. and at retail. And again, we can calculate the retail using either our cost to retail ratio or our markup percentage, depending on whether we're working with our retail amount as a starting point or our cost amount as a starting point. Our retail amount for the cost of goods purchased is 6280850. And if we did that correctly, we note that our cost to retail ratio has actually changed for our goods purchased during the period. And that's pretty interesting. Okay, so our ending inventory at retail is calculated by taking our goods available for sale at retail. So our beginning inventory plus goods purchased gives us goods available for sale and so our goods available for sale at retail will be calculated as, at cost, will be calculated by adding the beginning inventory plus our goods purchased at cost and also at retail. Which is 7,209,500. So our goods available for sale at retail minus our net sales at retail. So what is our net sales at retail? So we need to calculate that. And we have that information given to us in the problem. We have our sales at retail is 55,10,700, and we need to subtract out our sales returns and allowances minus, well, let's put that in as a plus amount, 46,100. And so our net sales will be our sales less our sales returns and allowances. Why don't we put that in there? Less sales returns and allowances. And our goods available for sale at cost. Our goods available for sale at retail, 7,209,500 minus our net sales at retail, so we're going to subtract these two numbers. Will give us our ending inventory at retail. So if we take our goods available for sale at retail and subtract our net sales, which is also at retail, our ending inventory at retail is 1,744,900. And then we need to always state our inventory on our balance sheet, on our financial statements, and we show inventory on our balance sheet. We always use cost. And so to convert our ending inventory at retail to ending inventory at cost, how do we do that? Well, we apply our cost ratio. And so our cost ratio in total is 47%. Why don't we move this over? And so if we take our ending inventory at retail and multiply by our cost ratio, it gives us our ending inventory at cost, and we want to emphasize that this is an estimated ending inventory at cost using the retail method. And so we go, and of course, let's see. Our cost to retail ratio here was 47%, and our net sales at retail is our 5,464,600, and our ending inventory at retail is 1,744,900, and finally our ending inventory, estimated ending inventory at cost using the retail method, applying the cost retail ratio to the ending inventory at retail. Our estimated ending inventory at cost is 820,103. And so and then it becomes imperative that we check our work and we cross our fingers, and there we are, our numbers are correct. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to save this work and send this video off for the student who requested it, and hopefully this will be helpful. Thank you.